Thousands of years ago, humans had thoughts, ideas, and knowledge, but no easy way to preserve them. They carved words into bamboo, scratched them onto wood, wrote on silk meant only for the rich. Knowledge was heavy, expensive, restricted. In a royal court, one exhausted official struggled daily under the weight of records. A single question echoed in his mind. Isn't there a better way to write? One day, floating fibers in water changed his life and the future of humanity. In ancient China, when the morning mist rolled down from the mountains and gently touched the red roofs of the imperial palace, the first rays of sunlight would spread across the walls like a layer of gold. It was a time when the empire valued knowledge deeply, yet preserving that knowledge was a painful burden. There was no paper. People wrote on long strips of bamboo. These strips were tied together with cords to form what resembled a book. Even a small record became so heavy that it often required two men to carry it. Important writings were sometimes done on silk, but silk was so expensive that only royalty and the wealthy could afford it. Common people could not even dream of recording their thoughts. Some words were carved into stone, bones, or wood, but those surfaces were only suitable for short inscriptions. Knowledge existed, but it was trapped, limited, heavy, and costly. Inside the imperial palace worked a man who faced these problems every single day. His name was Cai Lun. Cai Lun served as an official in the royal court. His duty was to manage records, supervise documentation, and preserve important imperial writings. Each day, piles of bamboo strips surrounded him. He lifted them, sorted them, tied them together, and often felt his backache under their weight. Sometimes, as he tried to lift a bundle, his hands trembled. Sweat formed on his forehead. He would think to himself, if a single record is this heavy, what must the weight of history be? One afternoon, while arranging bamboo records, a strip slipped from his hands and fell to the floor. It split into two pieces. The important writing on it was lost forever. That moment pierced his heart. A thought began to echo in his mind. There must be a better way to write. That evening, he walked to the riverbank near the palace. He sat quietly, watching the flowing water. So, his eyes caught something unusual. Fine fibers from tree bark were floating and spreading across the surface of the water, forming a thin layer. Pieces of old cloth, softened by the water, drifted nearby. He watched carefully. An idea flashed in his mind. If these fibers can bind together on water, could they form a smooth surface to write on? The thought struck him like lightning. The next day, he began experimenting. He crushed tree bark, soaked old rags in water, broke ropes into fibers, and mixed everything into a container. The result was nothing but muddy pulp. He felt disappointed, but he did not stop. Days passed, his hands became rough and wounded. His clothes were stained. He slept less. People began to laugh at him. The court official has gone mad, they said. He thinks he can make books from mud. But a quiet fire burned inside Cai Lun. One night, sitting again by the river, he noticed that when fibers stayed longer in water, they became softer and finer. He thought, I must make them even finer, and mix them thoroughly with water. He pounded the fibers again and again until they were extremely fine. He mixed them well with water and then took a thin screen-like mesh. Carefully, he poured the mixture over it. Water dripped through. A thin layer of fibers remained on the mesh. He placed it under the sun to dry. His heart beat fast. When the layer dried, it had turned into a light, smooth, flexible sheet. Cai Lun's eyes widened in disbelief. He lifted it gently. It was lighter than bamboo, cheaper than silk, and smoother than wood. He picked up a brush and wrote on it. The ink spread beautifully. The words were clear. A smile spread across his face, his eyes filled with tears. This is it. This is the answer. The next day, he went to the imperial court and presented the thin sheet before the emperor. The courtiers were curious. They touched it, bent it, examined it. What is this? This. The emperor asked. Cai Lun bowed respectfully. Your Majesty, this is a new surface on which knowledge can be preserved. When he demonstrated writing on it, whispers filled the court. Everyone was astonished that such a light material could hold writing so clearly. The emperor was deeply impressed. Cai Lun was honored, rewarded, and recognized for his discovery. Slowly, this new invention began spreading across China. Books became lighter. Writing became easier. Knowledge began reaching more people. Records could be stored without burden. Centuries later, this invention traveled beyond China to the rest of the world, and it changed human history forever. Because now, preserving ideas no longer required bamboo, silk, stone, or wood. All it needed was a thin, white sheet. The world came to know it by a simple name, paper.